Hello, this is Ella here, and for today's video, I'm making a JOJO'S. There's no spoilers in this video. I'm just gonna talk about like outfit. I might mention a few stand powers here and there, but I'm not really gonna go into much detail because I don't want to spoil anything for people. And just a little disclaimer, I am very limited to what I can research, and the reason I'm not going into like super detailed like research and stuff like I'd usually do is because I don't want to get spoiled. I'm on part 6 right now, and I just don't want to risk spoiling anything from part 6 and so on. So, but since I am itching to do a JoJo related video, because it's been on my mind, because I've been watching JoJo every day with Robbie, I wanted to attempt to go through the same method that the creator himself does when it comes to like making a character. I watched a video talking about his creative process and what he does, and it says that the first thing he does is he comes up with the stand power and then the character itself. So that's where I tried to start out. Robbie mentioned to me like one way that he got inspired was Bucciarati's stand, Zipper Man. Sticky fingers, was because of the album that had like the zippers on it. So the first thing I did is I just looked at a bunch of songs that I really like on my Spotify and kept like a few of them in my pocket, like songs I liked, bands, and I also had to keep in mind songs and bands that I want to use for when I make my JoJo stand, like when I do like my self-insert thingy. I was torn between a lot of them. I even wrote down like just like stand ideas or powers in general that just like would pop up to in my head, and then maybe I could see if I could match it to a song that I already knew. This took like a lot of thinking power. I did this for like like several weeks before I even like attempted to even draw or do anything, because I was coming up with like I was trying to do like other people's powers too. Another thing I would do too is I would go up to Robbie and share my ideas with him after like I had an idea, and I would find out like that the power or the stand power like already existed, and I'd be like, well, back to the drawing board. And although I was like kind of disappointed whenever I came up with something that was like a cool idea, I knew that I must be on the right track because I'm coming up with things that are similar. So yeah, I jot down like a lot of stuff when I was listening to music and when I wasn't, and I'm just gonna read like my random hodgepodge of notes. So I thought of like the song by ABBA, SOS, and I was like, being able to send out a distress signal from anywhere, but it can't be your own voice. A phone stand you can use to confuse the enemy, only can be used like a sneaky stand. I said, I don't know, rolling marbles, and if it gets put into a crevice that splits open, it's all gooey. Disorienting things. It says joy again, looking out for you, pulling the thread of something and unraveling it. I can restore it later, maybe, I don't know. Tag your freeze tag. Centerfold projecting some sort of screen. I said something with like a record player because of Doobie-Wah, using it as a weapon, and once it traps someone in there, something happens. And I just realized that was like something from Miraculous Ladybug, so I was like, let's not do that. I like the stand name Tongue-Tied. I just wrote on Hard Feelings, and then I have a little bit more. So I got stuck on this one for a while, and I was like trying to come up with a power for this one because I thought that I had a really good idea, and I wanted to try to do something with the band Roar and have the stand be called Poor Grammar. And then I noticed that like the album was like a sheep that had like a little heart on it, so I did a bunch of research on sheep, and I just like wrote a bunch of sheep facts down that I thought would be interesting. And then I wanted to do something with the band Wham because I like the song Last Christmas, but Robbie reminded me that Wamu was already like something to do with Wham, so I was like, nope. Then I thought Boys Don't Cry album, and I got inspired by like the fridge, and I was like, can transport any door from another door or whatever. And I thought of making things 2D, like 2D fighting, making parts 2D is also good for like sneaking. And then the last one was the last one was just like a straight up JoJo power, and I'll describe that in another video because that idea that I had was personally for like the stand that I wanted to have for myself. So I'm gonna go into more detail when I do that video. But yeah, I had a lot of ideas. I'm probably gonna like speed this part up because I wrote down a lot of stuff. Finally, one day I was listening to music and I just hit shuffle, and the song Alrighty Aphrodite by Peach Pit came on, and I liked the idea of naming the stand Peach Pit because I thought it was a nice funny name. So I wrote the name Peach Pit on like a piece of paper and then made like a little tree that branched out into different things and just wrote down anything that kind of is like associated with all their songs and stuff, and just went from there. So I just like listened to all the songs, and I was listening to one I got to this one that was called like Kagu's Sideburn, and I had no idea what that meant. So I googled just like the word, and this has nothing to do with like the song and the meaning behind the song, but something that came up was called the Kagu Kagu Umako Festival in Japan, and it's basically a Japanese celebration of like horses. But something that stuck out to me when I was reading the article was it said the sound of ringing bells takes over Morioka during the Kagu Kagu Imako Festival in June. Watch as 100 horses clad in brightly colored harnesses and bells parade from Takizawa to Morioka with small children mounted on their backs. And then I was like, bells. I want to do something with bells because I thought that would be interesting, and I hadn't seen anything with bells yet from what I had watched. And so I like thought really hard on what the bells could do, and so this was like my thought process. So I thought about how people ring bells in temples in Japan, and I already wanted like my OC to be in part 4, so I knew that it was going to be taking place like in Japan. So I thought like more and more on the idea. I didn't want to abandon Peach Pit because I feel like that like band got me to that point, so I wanted to keep the name. So I mixed the bells idea with like the vibes of the song. So the description of the bands on their page, it's described as like a friend telling you a story. So I was like, I like that, that's interesting. And I kind of got that vibe from them when I was listening to their songs. And like a lot of misfortune seemed to fall on like what was going on in the songs. A lot of them was pretty sad vibes. So I made my OC like unlucky in his day-to-day life. And then that's when I felt like everything was starting to click. So this is basically the stand ability that I settled on. So the stand Peach Pit, every time he rings his bell, the person, the OC, as well as their companions are hit with a stroke of immense good luck that would help aid them in their battle, as well as other things like finding money on the ground, maybe being at the right place, right time, etc. And the more the bell is rung, the more luck and good fortune is bestowed upon them. The drawback, however, is all the good luck he's earned is gained from his and taken from his already existing luck. So it's already like horrendously low. So if he uses up too much luck, all the bad luck will hit him basically all at once, resulting in a number of terrible possibilities and different occurrences happening. And this can just range from like getting splashed by a puddle or a whole like piano following them or worse. And with this stand and his personality, I feel like he's not much of a fighter. He's more of like a helper or someone like who like buffs the other people around him with his art, like with their already existing stands to like help amplify their stands. I was pretty happy with the idea. So I went to the sketch phase. I already had been practicing the JoJo style before I started this because I wanted to like go in with some experience, and also looking up like statues and getting other stuff to practice in, and just like getting stuff to practice in the future. I also made Pinterest boards of like fashionable name brand clothes, JoJo characters from various parts, model poses, etc. I made like a ton of different Pinterest boards to gain like inspiration. I gathered them all up and put them in like a pure ref board that I thought would fit him specifically. I knew that I wanted to give him some sort of like cropped outfit, just because I thought that the characters who wore cropped outfits in JoJo, I thought they looked really nice, so I wanted to do that. And since he was accident prone, I thought something along the lines of like bandages would be the way to go. So I played around with that for a bit, doing like different like bandage like on his head or like kind of like a bandage like headband. But I went with more like a superhero, Superman-esque hairstyle because I feel like he like wants to be a hero despite his bad luck. And so overall, I was inspired by that outfit that girl wore in The Fifth Element. I've never actually seen the movie, but I still thought it was fitting. I gave him a bell like silhouette on his chest, as well as little jingle bells all throughout his outfit. I know that like stand powers and outfits don't always have to correlate and look like cohesive together, but I know that it does sometimes, so that was enough for me to do it. I played around with the colors a lot. I just tried to go with my gut picking the colors, because I know that the colors in JoJo aren't always consistent. That's what Robbie told me. There's not like any like canon colors, and they get to like choose what they want to do for when they like translate it all into anime, which I think is kind of interesting. But I probably would play around with it a little bit more and make them a little bit better, but this is what I landed on. I had other outfit like ideas I wanted to add to him as well, but I didn't want to clutter it. I was thinking of doing something like giving him an omamori earring or some like intricate type of like bandages anywhere else and things like that. But overall, I think I did a decent job like capturing the art style. I was very proud of myself. It's not perfect by any means, but it was super fun to do, and I think for like my first like official take, I think I did a pretty good job. As for the stand, I had a few ideas when I was like sketching and like thinking of what it should be, like making a cute little tiny bell guy or making a bell-shaped body, but I ended up going like with a bell-shaped like top head and having it float with like a little string that was dangling, so it was easy for the OC to grab the rope and like ring it whenever he wants to. I'm honestly not too happy with how this stand design turned out. I feel like I could have gone a lot more wild and crazy with it, but I wasn't feeling too inspired, so I didn't want to like push myself too hard and give myself a headache, so that was my bad. But I feel like next time, since I have a lot more like clear idea on what I want each stand to look like for when I'm doing it with my buddies, I feel like the next ones are going to be pretty cool, hopefully. I had a few name ideas for him as well, but I didn't really settle on one. I thought like Suzu, Kayun, or Rinka. I don't know if those names like really fit, but those names came up when I was like looking up like bell related things. But yeah, here he is. The next video is gonna be probably gonna take a while because I'm gonna be drawing several of my peeps plus their stands, but I'm excited to eventually debut it. What?